Our next presenter is Professor Nobuyoshi Yamabe, Professor of Asian Philosophy at Waseda University. He'll be giving us a talk on the topic of paintings relevant to visualization in the National Museum of New Delhi.
Thank you very much, Michelle, for your kind introduction, and thank you, Chai-Yee, for your kind invitation. It is always a great pleasure and honor to visit Harvard and see so many old and new friends. Today I'm talking about paintings based on the Amitabha Visualization Sutra, and this is supposedly a sutra translated by Karayashas in the early 5th century into Chinese. But there are so many textual problems, and now it is generally considered to be an apocryphal text. And it teaches how to visualize the parent of Amitabha's cavity and the presiding Amitabha's Buddha. And first, it tells a frame story about why these methods of visualization were taught. And then it teaches the 13 methods of visualization, as you see here. And first, you visualize the land of bliss cavity. And then you visualize the presiding Amitabhas. And finally, you visualize the 9 classes of rivers, as you see here. And there are so many studies on these paintings, and these are the relatively recent ones. And I've myself also published these papers already. But however, I haven't studied the paintings in the National Museum in New Delhi. So this is the first time to discuss those paintings in public. And based on my former study, my basic view is that in Dunhuang, or paintings regarding the paintings from Dunhuang, there are so many examples of these Guanjin Bianshan. And generally speaking, earlier paintings agree with the contents of the sutra nicely, but later paintings show so many deviations, and so there are many problematic elements. And this is one of the examples of early Guanjin Bianshan. The left side strip shows the 13 visualizations. The right side strip shows the frame story. And the content basically agrees with the content of the sutra. This is okay. Yeah. Okay, so these are my basic views. Yeah. And but concerning the Indian paintings, there are not many studies as far as I know, and these are the 2 main former studies. And so let me discuss one by one. This is one of the examples, and as you see, the preservation is not very nice. So what I did is, first, with the permission of the museum, I took infrared picture, and infrared picture, by infrared picture, we can see the contours much more clearly. So this is the original regular visual light picture, and this is the infrared picture, and we can see the content much more nicely. And however, in infrared picture, all the colors are lost, and the colors are also important clues for interpreting the content of the painting. So what I often do is combining both the infrared picture and visual light picture and adjust some coloring so that we can see the scenes more clearly. And in this research image, we can observe that in the right-hand side, there's a man sitting in the house, and he has a can around his neck. And here is a standing woman who is probably Vaidehi, bringing food to the imprisoned Bimbisara, King Bimbisara. And this man is bowing. And this is sort of strange, but anyway, at least we can observe the content of the scene. Yeah. And we can see similar depictions of Kangs in other paintings. So this is definitely Kangs. And this is the restoration of the entire painting. And these are the contents I can observe based on my restored picture. And I don't have time to discuss all of these scenes, but at the bottom, we can see this scene. And this is the bottom scene. It's not quite clear even in my restoration, but here's a mounted person. This is probably I just shutter. And apparently there are two persons here. And then the top part. And here's the problem with this scene. Apparently a man is in a watchtower on the city wall. And this man is flying away from this tower on a cloud. And I think it's impossible to explain this scene based on the Amita's Visualization Sutra. And my suspicion is something from some other story was erroneously introduced into this Guanjin Bianshan, but I can't pinpoint the source. So if you have any suggestion, I would appreciate it. And then this is a visualization portion, and you can see these scenes. Yeah, and so this is a relationship between the original sutra and the painting we have seen. And as you see, they don't agree very nicely. And this is another example. This is much better, but also I took infrared and okay. So this is my restoration, and you can see these scenes. Yeah, and so this is a frame story, and then these are the visualization methods, etc. Yeah, and so this is a correspondence. Again, they don't agree very nicely with source text. Yeah, so we can see, so many disorderly elements, and disorder concerns the arrangement of the order of the scenes is not correct according to the text, and there are some strange individual items that are not found in the source text. And first, concerning the arrangement, actually there are some sketches that may have been used for executing these paintings. And for example, that circled portion shows the visualization of the setting sun. And these finished paintings show very similar scenes. So it's quite likely that they refer to some kind of sketch producing these paintings. And in these two paintings, we can see very similar standing Buddha, and we can see similar standing Buddha in the sketch as well. However, the placement is completely different. And in my view, apparently they treated these individual scenes independently, and they just arranged it based on their own judgment. So this must correspond to the 13th item of visualization. So this arrangement is correct, and this is strange, but I don't think they had any particular reason for doing this. They just rearranged that for no particular reason. That's my impression. Yeah, and then individual items. Yeah, in this painting, we see this one. This must be a water pond, and this is a big whiteboard. And again, this is not very clear, but we see some, something here. And even the infrared is not very clear. But if we look at this one, another Guanjin Mizugime, we can see this one. It's much more clearer. And apparently, this is the moon. And this apparently agrees with the traditional Chinese description of the moon. And if you look at different paintings, often moon and sun are combined together like these examples. Yeah, and in the Guanjin Bianshan, as you see, the first item to be visualized is the setting sun. And so, okay, yeah, so, well, perhaps some painters saw that since there's the sun, why no moon? And as we have seen, the combination of the sun and the moon is so common. So perhaps some painters thought that there should be the visualization of the moon as well. But another thing to be taken into consideration is often we see these 3 ponds in the Kuijp, and on the 3 pond, on the 3rd pond, we often see a big ball. And I think this shows that the 3rd pond is a jewel pond. Yeah, so this is a big gem, I think. Yes, but if you look at these relatively early paintings, we can see much smaller balls, and I think they are just lotus spots. Yeah. So again, this is from the National Museum, New Delhi. Again, lotus spot. Yeah. So we often find small balls on the 3 ponds in early Peruvian paintings, and they must be lotus spots. So I think there are 2 stages of interpretations. First, originally they were simply lotus spots, but they were misunderstood to be jewel, and then somebody took it for the moon. Yeah, and there's another story, strange objects, multi-layered parasol or something like that. You know, we can see in both these Indian paintings. Yeah, and there's no such item in the Amitabha Visualization Sutra. However, in other Kuijp, we often see similar elements. And one of them has an inscription which says that this is a visualization of a banner about Wang. And in the sketch, even in the sketches also, we can find something similar. And in the Middle Jinbian also, we can find very similar so-called chuan or parasols. Yeah. And if we look at really early examples, we can see these images. And these are netted trees. Jewel tree in paradise covered with pearl nets. And this agrees with the sutra description. But sometimes these trees are represented so unnaturally, so they don't really look like trees. So I think it's quite possible that somebody mistook it as multi-layered parasols or baochuan. Yeah, and this is another example in the National Museum, New Delhi. And this also should be tree, but very much look like something else. Yeah, and then the remaining problem is that, you know, okay, we see banner or parasols, but we also see trees. Yeah. So the original tree image is still remaining, even though a tree is, according to my understanding, misinterpreted as a banner. Yeah. But actually, we see similar coexistence of the original image and the misinterpreted image, tree and banner, in other examples of Guanjin. So this is actually a common phenomenon. Yeah, and this is another example, banner and trees. Yeah, so originally the same image sort of bifurcated into 2 different images. Yeah, and that kind of thing happens. Yeah, and this is another image. Okay. This is another strange image. So in the sketch, we can find something similar. And in the sketch, this seems to be understood as an incense burner. But in the left-hand side, what's this? And I suspect that this is another example of banner, something like that. Yeah. So we see nets, you know, surrounding this round object. And we can see similar X-shaped pattern. And here again, the cylindrical banner and tree coexist. But as we have seen, this is not really a problem. Yeah. So something like this. Yeah. And this is another strange image, burning gem on a lotus flower. And yeah. I suppose this is a combination of these 2 images. Yeah. And then this is another strange image, something like, you know, hexagonal pagoda with lotus petals underneath. And similar pagodas are found elsewhere in different paintings, but what I find strange is petals underneath. Yeah, and well, I don't have time to discuss the detail, but my suspicion is originally it was lotus seed, and as you can see, we can see petals. And for some reason, this was misinterpreted as flower vase. Yeah, and so these vases are standing on the surface of pond, but still they retain the petals underneath. Yeah, and then some quite often this vases are painted just next to a chapel. So I suspect that these two images were somehow combined. Yeah, and okay, I have to finish. Okay, what's this? This is Jesus Christ. Yeah, right. And this is a painting executed by 16th century Japanese painter. And it is quite amazing, I think, that in the 6th century, a Japanese person could do something like the completely Western style painting. And why was such a thing possible? Because he was trained by a Jesuit teacher. Yeah, otherwise, this is completely impossible. This is called Salvator Mundi, and he carries an orb, and that represents, royal power of rolling over the earth, right? And even now, the British monarch for something similar. And so this Salvator Mundi is Jesus Christ shown in a kingly image. So it has symbolic meanings. And then in the 16th century, Catholic Church in Japan was quite successful. However, after that, Catholic Church received severe persecution. And so no Catholic missionary came from the Western countries. So the same image became like this. Because so without professional training, the tradition of religious painting easily falls apart. Yeah, and I suspect that something similar was happening in Dunhuang as well. It means that at the very earliest stage, without professional guidance, painters didn't know what to do. So the learned monk must have told the painters what to paint. But once the pattern is established, then the painters simply copied from the pre-existing examples, yeah, without any professional guidance. But those painters didn't understand what the right content is. So sometimes they misinterpreted the former painting, and many misinterpretations accumulated. Yeah. So then I think the parent painting in the National Museum follow the general pattern of the parent paintings from later periods. They need to be studied in close comparison with other paintings kept elsewhere. And they are not accurate representations of Amitabha's Visualization Sutra, and they reflect painter's logic, not practitioner's logic. Apparently, each scene was created independently, and painters did not refer to the sutra. They simply copied earlier paintings and sometimes misinterpreted what they saw. This misinterpretation sometimes became a tradition and was followed by later painters. And they were not meant to be guides for the practice of visualization. The artistic value of the painting is not necessarily tied to the accuracy of the content. The artistic value should be evaluated independently. That might be it. Thank you very much for your kind attention.